My child, your person thought they were only going to meet a new marriage proposal, but they had no idea that one private recording was about to pull your name back into the center of everything. The family had already prepared smiles, questions, tea, blessings, and silent pressure, but the moment your voice was mentioned, the room changed. Someone had hidden the truth for too long, and tonight, that truth refused to stay buried. Before your person could say yes to a future without you, one recording made their heart remember what everyone else tried to erase. Listen carefully. Your person did not wake up that morning expecting their entire life to turn upside down, because from the outside, everything looked controlled, arranged, and peaceful, like a family finally moving forward after a long season of confusion, delay, pain, and unanswered questions. But deep inside their chest there was a strange heaviness that would not leave them alone, a pressure that sat quietly behind every breath, as if their heart already knew something was wrong before their mind could understand it. The house was unusually busy that day, not in a loud, careless way, but in that serious family way where everyone pretends to be normal while secretly preparing for something big. Their mother had been walking from room to room since morning, checking small things again and again, adjusting curtains that were already straight, arranging cups that were already in place, telling people to speak carefully, smile properly, and not bring up any old matter in front of the guests. Their father had remained quiet, sitting with a controlled face, but even his silence carried pressure, because everyone knew this meeting was not just a casual introduction. It was a new marriage proposal, a respectable family, a clean background, a person who looked perfect on paper, and most importantly, a chance for your person's family to close the chapter they never wanted anyone to reopen. But your person was not peaceful. They stood near the mirror wearing clothes chosen by someone else, hearing compliments that did not touch their soul, watching relatives move around them like they were preparing a celebration, yet inside, something kept whispering your name. They tried to ignore it. They tried to tell themselves that maybe this was how life worked, that sometimes people had to accept what was available instead of waiting for what still hurt, that maybe families knew better, that maybe love was not enough when the whole world stood between two hearts. But every time they tried to convince themselves, a memory of you rose again, not loudly, not dramatically, but softly enough to break them. Your smile. Your silence. The way you once waited for them when nobody else understood. The way your name had been removed from conversations, but never from their heart. Don't skip. Because the strangest part was that your person had not even spoken your name in front of anyone that day, yet everyone in that house was behaving as if they were afraid your name might appear from nowhere and ruin everything. One aunt had already warned, today, no old stories. One cousin had whispered, please, don't look sad. Their mother had looked directly into their eyes and said, whatever happened before, happened for a reason. Today you must think about your future. But your person knew that when people say, future with fear in their voice, it usually means they are hiding something from the past. They wanted to ask one simple question: if moving on was so right, why did it feel like betrayal? If this proposal was so perfect, why did their hands feel cold? If you were truly not meant for them, Why did their hearts still become restless whenever your name was even close to being spoken? They said nothing, because sometimes silence becomes the only shelter left when every answer around you has been arranged by others. The guests were expected in the evening, but long before they arrived, something else entered that house first: tension. A relative came early, someone who had always behaved sweetly in public but carried secrets in their eyes. This person had been involved in many family decisions, always standing near the elders, always giving advice, always acting like they wanted your person's happiness, but whenever your name came up in the past, their face had changed in a way only a broken heart could notice. That relative carried a phone in their hand and looked nervous, almost guilty, as if they had either found something they were not supposed to find or had finally decided to reveal something they were never supposed to keep. They asked to speak to your person's mother privately. The mother's face tightened at once. "Not today," she said softly, but her voice was sharp underneath. "Whatever it is, later." The relative looked toward your person, then toward the living room prepared for guests, then lowered their voice and said, "It is about them." Your person heard only that much, but their body reacted before their mind did. They knew who "them" meant. It was not the new proposal. It was not the guest family. It was you. Their mother quickly pulled the relative toward the side corridor, but a few words slipped through the walls like sparks through a closed door. Recording. Private. Their name. If this plays today, everything will stop. Your person's heart began beating so hard that the room seemed to become smaller. Recording? Private recording? About you? For months, maybe years, they had been told there was nothing left to know, that you had moved on, that you had not cared enough, that you had chosen silence, that you had disappointed the family, that your connection was weak, impossible, childish, or dangerous. Every painful explanation had been handed to them like a final truth, and every time they questioned it, someone became emotional, angry, or wounded enough to make them feel guilty for asking. But now there was a recording. Something real. Something hidden. Something strong enough to make their mother afraid on the very day a new marriage proposal was coming to the house. Your person slowly stepped closer to the corridor, not with full courage, but with the kind of desperation that comes when the soul knows it is standing near the missing piece of its own story. They heard their mother say, "Delete it. This cannot come out now." The relative replied, "It should have come out long ago." A silence fell after that, and in that silence your person felt the first crack in the wall that had kept you away from them. They wanted to enter and demand the truth, but before they could move, the doorbell rang. The new marriage proposal had arrived. The whole house shifted instantly. Faces changed. Voices became polite. Secrets were pushed back under smiles. Your person's mother came out with a calm face, but her hands were trembling. The relative slipped the phone into their pocket and looked away, but your person had already seen enough. Something about you was alive in that phone, and everyone who knew it was afraid of what would happen if your person heard it. The guests entered with warmth, respect, and the heavy sweetness of arranged destiny. The new proposal came with their family, well-dressed, polite, confident, the kind of person everyone could easily call suitable. They smiled at your person with gentle interest, but your person could not fully return that smile, because their mind was trapped in the corridor, trapped in the word recording, trapped in the sudden fear on their mother's face. Everyone sat down. Tea was served. Compliments moved around the room like rehearsed lines. They look even better in person. The families match well. These things are written by fate. Sometimes elders see what children cannot. Your person listened, but each sentence felt like a thread being wrapped around them, slowly tying them to a decision their heart had not accepted. The new proposal's mother asked polite questions about work, habits, dreams, and family values. Your person answered carefully, but every answer felt incomplete, because the only dream they could not mention was you. Their mother kept watching them, warning them silently to behave, to cooperate, to not ruin the meeting. But the more everyone tried to make the moment perfect, the more unnatural it became. Don't skip. Because what happened next was not an accident, even though everyone later tried to call it one. The nervous relative entered the living room carrying a tray, but their attention was not on the cups. Their phone buzzed once, then again. They looked down, and their face changed. Someone had sent a message. Your person noticed their eyes fill with panic. The relative stepped backward, almost dropped the tray, then placed it on the table too quickly. The phone slipped slightly from their hand and landed near the edge of the sofa, screen facing up. Your person saw only a glimpse, but it was enough to freeze their breath. The screen showed an audio file. The title had your name in it. Not a vague name, not a hidden code, your name. Their whole body went still. The room continued talking, laughing lightly, pretending to build a future, while your person stared at that phone like it was the only honest object in the house. The relative noticed and quickly picked it up, but by then your person had understood, the recording was real, and it was about you. A strange courage rose in them, not loud, not rebellious yet, but clear. They were tired of being managed. Tired of being emotionally pushed toward a life that felt empty. Tired of being told that your silence meant you never cared. So when the new proposal's family asked whether your person would like to speak privately for a few minutes, everyone smiled as if this was the natural next step, but your person looked at that relative and said something nobody expected. Before I speak about marriage, I want to hear the recording. The room lost its breath. It was not a shout, but it landed like thunder. Their mother's cup stopped halfway to the table. Their father looked up sharply. The guests exchanged confused glances. The new proposal's smile faded into uncertainty. The relative closed their eyes for a second, as if they had been waiting for this moment and fearing it at the same time. Your person repeated, slower this time, "There is a private recording about the person everyone told me to forget. I want to hear it now." Their mother immediately stood up and said, "This is not the time." Your person looked at her, and for the first time in a long time, their voice did not shake. "Then when was the time? When you told me they left? When you told me they did not care? When you arranged this meeting? When I was about to say yes to someone else without knowing the truth?" The guest family grew uncomfortable. Someone tried to laugh it off, saying maybe there had been some misunderstanding, but nobody in your person's family laughed. That silence proved more than any confession could. The new proposal looked at your person with hurt pride, but also with curiosity, because even they could feel that this was not a normal old love story. This was a truth being held down by too many hands. The relative finally stepped forward, holding the phone. "I did not want to destroy today," they said quietly, "but I cannot watch another life be built on a lie." Your person's mother whispered, "Please don't." That one "please" revealed everything. It was not the voice of a mother protecting peace. It was the voice of someone protecting a secret. The relative pressed play. At first there was only static, a faint sound of movement, maybe a room, maybe people speaking in the background. Then a voice came through. Not your full voice yet, but someone talking about you. Your person leaned forward. Every heartbeat became painful. The recording was old, but clear enough. A family elder's voice said, "They must never know the real reason. If they know, they will never agree to leave." Another voice replied, "But what about the one whose name is being blamed?" Your person's eyes filled instantly. The one whose name was being blamed. You. The recording continued, and each sentence struck the room harder than the last. Let them think there was rejection. Let them think there was betrayal. It is easier that way. Your person covered their mouth, not because they were weak, but because the sound that almost came out of them was too broken for a room full of strangers. Their mother turned pale. Their father's face tightened with shame. The new proposal's family sat frozen, realizing they had walked into a house where marriage was being used to bury an old truth. Then, after a pause in the recording, your voice finally appeared. Soft. Hurt. Controlled. You were not begging. You were not accusing. You were saying something that changed the air in the room forever. I will step back if their happiness is truly somewhere else, but do not make them hate me with a lie. Do not tell them I never cared. If they choose another life after knowing the truth, I will accept it. But please, do not steal my name from their heart by poisoning it. Your person broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. Their tears came before they could stop them, because your voice carried the pain they had been told never existed. You had not abandoned them. You had not played with their emotions. You had not disappeared because you were careless. You had asked only one thing: do not make them hate me with a lie. And yet that was exactly what had been done. Their whole history rearranged itself in one brutal moment. Every cold message. Every blocked conversation. Every family excuse. Every sudden change. Every night they blamed themselves. Every moment they wondered why you did not fight harder. Everything began to look different. The recording kept playing, and another hidden voice said, "If this connection continues, the proposal we want will be impossible. Too much is already promised. Too much is already promised." Your person slowly looked at their mother. Promise to whom? No one answered. The relative stopped the recording, but your person grabbed the phone gently and said, "No. Play all of it." Their mother shook her head, tears forming now, but your person did not soften, because some tears come only when secrets fail, not when hearts are sorry. The recording resumed. This time, the voice of the same elder spoke with a cruelty disguised as practicality. The new family is better for status. Better for business. Better for everyone. Feelings will fade. They always do. Your person almost laughed through tears, because the tragedy was clear now. Everyone had waited for your memory to fade, but it had only become quieter, deeper, more dangerous to the lie. The new proposal stood up slowly, insulted and shaken. Were we called here while this was still unresolved? Their mother had no answer. The guest family began gathering themselves, but your person turned to them and said, with painful honesty, "I am sorry. You deserved truth too. I cannot discuss marriage while my life has been controlled by a lie." That sentence ended the meeting before any elder could save it. The new proposal's family left with stiff faces and whispered shock, but your person did not follow, did not apologize again, did not perform respect for a situation that had been built over betrayal. Once the door closed behind the guests, the house became frighteningly silent. No teacups moved. No one cleared the plates. No one said fate anymore. Your person stood in the middle of the living room holding the phone that carried your pain, and their voice became low, almost unrecognizable. Who recorded this? The relative looked down. I did. Why? Because I knew one day they would deny everything. Why didn't you give it to me before? The relative's eyes filled with guilt. Because I was afraid. Because they told me it would break the family. Because I thought maybe you would move on. But today, when I saw them preparing to introduce you to someone new again, I could not carry it anymore. Again. That word hit differently. Your person turned slowly. What do you mean again? Their mother closed her eyes. The relative looked terrified, as if the recording was only the first door and behind it stood an even bigger secret. Your person stepped closer. How many proposals were arranged to keep me away from them? Nobody spoke. Their father finally whispered, "Enough." But your person was no longer someone who could be silenced by one heavy word. No. Not enough. Not anymore. They lifted the phone. This recording says my future was redirected because something was promised. I want to know what was promised, who promised it, and why their name was destroyed to protect it. Their mother began crying fully now. I did what I thought was right. Your person stared at her. Did you think it was right when you told me they never waited? Did you think it was right when you watched me break every night? Did you think it was right when you let me believe the only person I trusted had thrown me away? The mother tried to speak, but her words collapsed. For the first time, your person saw not authority, not certainty, not motherly control, but fear. Old fear. Deep fear. The kind of fear that grows around a secret agreement. Don't skip. Because this is where the truth became darker than just family interference. The relative finally revealed that the recording was not made on the day you spoke your pain. It was made on the day a private meeting had taken place behind your person's back, a meeting where your name, your future, your relationship, and your dignity had been discussed as if you were not a human being with a heart, but an obstacle to be removed. You had come there because someone had called you, promising that if you listened respectfully, the family might give you one fair chance. But when you arrived, the conversation was not fair. You were told to step away quietly. You were told your presence was creating problems. You were told your love would damage your person's future. You were told that if you truly cared, you would disappear without making noise. And still, even in pain, you had not cursed them. You had not exposed them. You had only asked them not to turn your person against you with lies. That was the part that destroyed your person most. Because while you were protecting their peace, others were poisoning your image. While you were choosing silence to avoid hurting them, others were using your silence as proof of guilt. While you were carrying heartbreak privately, they were arranging new proposals publicly. Your person sat down slowly, as if their legs could no longer carry the weight of the truth. The phone remained in their hand. Their thumb hovered over your name on the audio file. Where are they now? They asked. The room went still again. Their mother looked away. Their father looked at the floor. The relative swallowed hard. I don't know exactly. Your person looked up. What does exactly mean? The relative hesitated. After that meeting, they tried to contact you. More than once. Your person's face changed. No. I never got anything. Because the messages were stopped. By who? The relative's silence answered before words could. Your person looked at their mother. The mother whispered, I was trying to help you heal. Your person stood so fast the phone almost fell. You helped me heal by hiding their messages. You were suffering. Because you made me suffer. The words echoed through the house. Nobody moved. Your person's voice broke, but the strength stayed. You let me grieve someone who was still trying to reach me. You let me hate silence that was not theirs. You let me walk toward another marriage while their truth was locked inside someone's phone.